Hey guys, as soon as you see this, your immediate next step is I know what this guy is going to talk about. So let me just turn off this video. Give me 20 seconds and I'll tell you why this could be important. The first point let's discuss is this world is very competitive with respect to at least in the career's perspective. Well, I disagree. It's not competitive. We are living in a world where there is no clarity with respect to what we do. And hence, we just follow what the other person is doing. And the other person is doing it because somebody else is doing it. There is absolutely no clarity on why we are doing something and for how long we want to do it. And if we have no clarity and if we keep switching the directions multiple times in our career, how can we aspire to become better at anything and command a high salary? Just impossible. Hence, the first guiding principle for having a high salary over the next 10 years is to have that clarity. Now, the clarity could mean a few different things. Which industry do you want to work in? Is it the automotive industry? Is it the consumer goods? Is it the technology space? You decide which industry do you want to spend your next 10 years in. Then decide which domain is it. Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it leadership? Is it something else? Decide on the domain. Once you decide on the domain and you decide on the industry, it gives you a lot of leverage so that you can focus. But again, the biggest question here is, how do you decide on which one do you want to go with? That's $1 million question. If you already have an answer, do let me know in the comments. But a classic metrics that you can use to get to this answer is, what is your interest and what is your expertise? This map between interest and expertise, if you just put it on a piece of paper and tell that, hey, I'm very much of an expert in Python, but my interest lies in AI, or my interest lies in actually doing some sales in the technology space or doing business consulting in the technology space. It is fine, but you just need to map it and then see how you can transition from the area of your strength to the area where you want to go, the passion area. And how can this transition happen? It determines a lot on where you are in your career right now. If you are in the early stages of your career, I would sincerely request, keep that passion area on the side. Focus on your expertise, build on your expertise. Once you double down on your expertise, you will be able to leverage that. You can go and demand higher salary, negotiate better on that job offer, and even get a new job offer. So building that expertise in the first place is important. That can help you go on that exponential salary path. The folks that I know who are in their late 30s, early 40s, in my network, I have seen a lot of people commanding high salaries, even up to 1 crore or more. And one of the reasons is they have spent good 15 plus years in the same industry, in the same role. They started as an analyst, then they moved into the manager, then they moved as a director, now they are doing sales, all in the space of analytics or all in the space of marketing. That continuity comes with clarity. If you don't have that clarity and you keep moving, it becomes extremely difficult. For me, on my personal side, my expertise has always been in analytics, data, number crunching, quantitative ability of mine is my strength. But my interest was in marketing. I really spent the first 4 to 5 years of my career just doing data analytics and then slowly transition into marketing analytics at an intersection of my strength and my expertise. Give it a good thought, try to get that clarity. Even if you put it on a paper, it's a good starting point. Now, the second guiding principle with respect to getting higher salary is upskilling. Now, you might really say, hey Pavan, this is in fact a very competitive world. So how can just doing an upskilling course get me higher salary? Well, that is true. It is not just about upskilling anymore. I'm not saying that, hey, you go do some free courses online will increase your salary by 50% or even 5%. No, that does not happen. The traditional definition of upskilling itself has changed. Upskilling now means learning continuously, and it goes back to our prior point, which is having clarity and picking that area. Once you have a clarity on where you want to spend the next 10 years on, you can get on that path of continuous learning. And again, this continuous learning can start with an online course. Nothing wrong with that. However, there is also another important component of the continuous learning journey, that is learning from our peers. I'm not talking about learning from our friends with whom we go out for a chai break or a sutta break, but rather learning from the folks who we aspire to be, our mentors, or potentially folks who are little ahead in this entire journey. And how do we reach out to them? LinkedIn is the best possible way. I don't mean to say that, hey, you go start writing lengthy posts, but at least you should be able to start commenting on the posts that others are writing. And how do you do that? How do you add that real value? For that, you need to start consuming information. It's not necessarily just a course, but it could be a generic read on everyday basis. And once you are adding value for 3 to 4 months, then you will see these rappos building organically. And that is the beauty of continuous learning. It is not just through online course. It is not just through your individual conversations, but it's a combination of all these factors. And this will ultimately lead you to becoming an expert in one single area. And that's the whole objective of continuous learning, right? You don't want to learn something, you don't want to do a course because you just want to spend some money or you just want to waste your time. You want to become an expert in the area where, again, we go back to the first point, we have clarity around. And that is what will lead us into the next step so that we can actually push for higher salary, we can negotiate for a better job offer, or even we can switch to a different job itself. Now, the third guiding principle which can help us command for a better salary is actually job transition. Job transitions are very tricky though. I have a lot of strong personal opinions around job transitions. For example, for somebody who is spending more than 5, 7, 8 years in one single company, the recruiter might look at and say, hey, this guy is not motivated enough to get to new challenges. However, on the other hand, if somebody is changing 4 companies in 3 years, then that's a red signal as well. You might say, hey, this person does not like to go through tough situations, which are very common across every single company. Now, if you ask me, I do recruiting for Blue Chapter, and my priority is not the intellectual capacity, but rather folks who can stick it out. So I want to see folks who are at least spending 2 years in a company in the early stages of their career. Well, I understand there is a very, very tricky balance that you need to play here. The first part, if you just continue in the same job, you might be getting that 10% salary increment year over year. But if you switch, you will get that 50 to 60% salary increase probably very quickly. So how do you balance it out? In my opinion, you have to think through strategically for every job transition. Evaluate your career once every 2 years or even once every year on 2 metrics. Number 1 is salary. Am I getting paid according to the market rate? Or if I jump into the market, if I search for a job right now, will I be paid probably 50 or 100% more? That's a red flag. If you are getting paid at least 50% more, you need to think through your options. The second lever that you need to think through is, hey, am I learning something in my path to become an expert in the field where I want to spend the next 10 years? If you want to spend the next 10 years in the world of AI, and if you are just becoming an expert in some domain which is not at all related to AI, do you want to spend that time there? Well, you are learning, but to what use? Is it for your next 10 years of your career? So you need to have that clarity around both salary and also how is it helping build your resume. Of course, I don't want to leave the salary portion by just emphasizing on the learning. Salary is important as well. And that's the whole point of our video today. Hence, these 3, if you stick to the guidelines, number 1, getting that real clarity around what you want to do through a simple framework, which is having an understanding about what are your interests and what are your expert areas. Then building an upskilling plan, rather continuous learning plan, which involves 2 components: your active or passive learning through a course, a boot camp, and also learning through your peers. And the third one is evaluating the jobs in front of you or the job that you are doing right now so that you understand where you stand with respect to your learnings, the long-term career path, and also the salary path. I hope this video is helpful. Please do share it in your network, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.